In the shadows of history, where unanswered questions linger like a thick fog, we find the haunting tales of unsolved murders. Each dark chapter begins with a date, a time when life was abruptly extinguished, leaving behind only echoes of the unspeakable. Our journey through this chilling timeline reveals not just the events, but the chilling evidence that has baffled investigators for decades, and the unsettling implications of the unknown. Phase 1. The setup timeline ***. It was a crisp autumn evening in 1974 when the small town of Millbury was rocked by a tragedy that would forever tarnish its tranquility. The body of 16-year-old Susan Reyes was discovered in the nearby woods, a place where children once played and lovers carved their initials into the bark of old trees. She had been reported missing just days prior, and the community had rallied together, desperate to find her. Yet, as the sun dipped below the horizon, it became painfully clear that the search would yield only heartache. The autopsy revealed that Susan had suffered a brutal demise, but the circumstances surrounding her death were shrouded in confusion. No witnesses came forward, and the town, once a close-knit community, was left unnerved and fearful. What had happened in those woods? Who had stalked her in the shadows? The clues were scarce, and the investigation would soon hit a chilling impasse. Fast forward to 1981, and a similar darkness enveloped the coastal town of Ashford when 21-year-old James Callahan went missing after a night out with friends. His disappearance ignited a search that lasted weeks, but it was not until a fisherman stumbled upon a body washed ashore that the community learned of the grim reality. James had met a violent end, yet the circumstances of his death were eerily similar to Susan's, leading investigators to question whether a serial killer was at work. With no suspects and no leads, whispers of terror began to ripple through the town. As the decade progressed, the year 1986 painted a more sinister picture. In the dark alleys of Chicago, the body of 25-year-old Emily Hart was discovered in a vacant lot. The same day, the city was bustling with activity, unaware of the horror that lurked just beneath its surface. Emily had vanished after leaving a bar, and her lifeless body bore signs of struggle. The autopsy would reveal a chilling pattern. All three victims had been assaulted and left with cryptic symbols carved into their skin. Investigators sensed a connection, yet each lead they chased evaporated like smoke. The timeline extends into the 1990s, where the cold case files accumulated dust but never faded from memory. In 1993, the body of a young mother, Lisa Caldwell, was found in her own home, her baby miraculously unharmed in the crib. The brutality of the murder sent shockwaves through the neighborhood. Lisa had been beloved, and her violent end raised more questions than answers. Who could harbor such hatred? As detectives scoured through her past, they were ensnared in a web of complex relationships, all leading to dead ends. Phase 2. Evidence breakdown ***. With the passage of each year, the evidence emerged like shadowy figures, tantalizing yet elusive. The symbols etched onto the victims' bodies became a focal point for investigators, yet their meanings remained a mystery. Some speculated it was the work of a social outcast, while others theorized a ritualistic link, invoking the ancient and the occult. Forensic teams worked tirelessly, but the more they uncovered, the deeper the abyss of confusion became. In 1999, a breakthrough of sorts occurred. A forensic artist was able to reconstruct a composite sketch based on witness descriptions from the prior cases. The image revealed a figure that infused horror into the hearts of those who recognized the familiar features. Sightings were reported, yet every lead led to a dead end, leaving the townsfolk in a perpetual state of dread. As the new millennium dawned, the early 2000s brought advances in DNA technology that offered a glimmer of hope. Blood samples recovered from the crime scenes were tested against databases, but the results yielded no matches. The gnawing frustration echoed in the halls of law enforcement. Who was this faceless predator, and why were they slipping through the cracks of justice? Each passing year only added to the weight of the unsolved, and with it, the fear that perhaps the killer was among them, lurking in plain sight. In the early 2010s, investigators turned to digital forensics. The rise of the internet brought with it a new realm of evidence. A deep dive into online forums revealed discussions that were chillingly familiar. Anonymous users speculated about the unsolved murders, forming communities built on theories and conjectures. One theory pointed to a notorious figure from the 80s, a name long buried in a forgotten file, yet the connections were tenuous at best. Still, the urgency to solve the case pulsed through the veins of law enforcement, igniting a renewed vigor in the investigation. As the years passed, the haunting patterns of the past continued to echo in the present. Each new lead seemed to lead back to the same chilling abyss. Investigators found themselves retracing steps, poring over old evidence with fresh eyes, hoping to uncover a clue that had been missed. The haunting symbols carved into the victim's skin were analyzed through the lens of modern psychology, with experts suggesting that they could represent a twisted signature, a mark left by a killer who sought recognition through their horrific acts. Yet, with every passing year, the frustration grew. The lack of physical evidence left detectives grappling with uncertainty, and the community's fear morphed into a collective anxiety. Families of the victims continued to seek closure, their hearts burdened with unanswered questions that haunted their dreams. The chilling question lingered: would the truth ever be uncovered? Or would the stories of Susan, James, Emily, and Lisa be forever trapped in the echoes of their grim fates? Phase 3, Unresolved Implications ***. As we stand on the precipice of what remains unknown, the implications of these unresolved murders extend far beyond the gruesome details. Each victim, each unsolved case, is a reminder of the fragility of life and the terrifying reality that darkness can dwell in the most unexpected places. The families left behind continue to seek justice, their hearts burdened with unanswered questions that haunt their dreams. The chilling question lingers: will the truth ever be uncovered? Or will the stories of Susan, James, Emily, and Lisa be forever trapped in the echoes of their grim fates? As the timeline stretches out, we see not just a series of events, but a haunting collection of lives interrupted, leaving a void that can never be filled. The weight of these unsolved mysteries begs us to probe deeper, to confront our fears, to unravel the threads that bind these stories together. Yet as we delve into the abyss of the unknown, we must ask ourselves, what dark forces remain hidden, waiting to be unearthed? Each clue we chase leads us deeper into a labyrinth of despair, where answers are both a curse and a blessing. Tonight, we explore these chilling accounts of unsolved murders, bearing witness to the unspeakable tragedies that remind us of the darkness that can lurk just beneath the surface of everyday life. As we traverse through the timeline of events and evidence, we must brace ourselves for the unsettling truths that lie ahead. The answers may be out there, cloaked in shadows, waiting for the bold to uncover them, but until then, the unknown will continue to weave its dark tapestry over the lives of many. The timeline of these unsolved murders begins to unfold in the early 20th century, a time when forensic science was in its infancy. One of the most notorious cases was the murder of Mary Fagan in 1913. The young factory worker was found dead in the basement of the National Pencil Company in Georgia. The evidence was scant. However, the trial that followed captivated the nation. Leo Frank, the factory's Jewish manager, was accused and convicted largely on dubious testimony. Despite a lack of physical evidence linking him to the crime, Frank was sentenced to death, and his case became a flashpoint for anti-Semitic sentiments in the South. In 1915, after a public outcry and calls for justice, Frank was lynched by a mob. To this day, questions remain about the true identity of Mary's killer, and the case is often cited as a grim reminder of how societal biases can influence the pursuit of justice. Fast forward to the 1960s, another chilling chapter in the annals of unsolved murders emerges with the case of the Zodiac Killer. Operating in Northern California, this serial killer taunted law enforcement and the public through cryptic letters and ciphers sent to local newspapers. The timeline of his crimes began in 1968 with the murders of high school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. Over the next year, he claimed several more victims, including Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau. The Zodiac's letters contained eerie details about the murders, which led to numerous investigations but ultimately no solid leads. His last confirmed victim was in 1969. But he continued to send letters into the 1970s, leaving behind a legacy of fear and fascination. Despite a plethora of suspects and ongoing investigations, the Zodiac Killer's identity remains unknown, a haunting specter in American criminal history. In the 1980s, the case of the boy in the box emerged, a mystery that has perplexed investigators for over 6 decades. Discovered in 1957 in Philadelphia, the body of a young boy, estimated to be between 4 and 6 years old, was found in a cardboard box. Despite extensive efforts to identify him and uncover the circumstances of his death, the boy remains nameless. Investigators discovered clues such as a distinctive plaid blanket found with the body and a history of abuse, yet no credible leads have surfaced. Modern DNA technology has provided new hope for identifying the boy and his killer, but as of today, he remains one of the most tragic unknown victims in U.S. history. The timeline shifts once more into the 1990s with the mysterious disappearance of 6-year-old Morgan Nick during a Little League game in Arkansas in 1995. Witnesses reported seeing a man in a red truck near the playground where Morgan disappeared. Despite extensive searches and media coverage, she was never found. Over the years, various leads and potential suspects have emerged, but no one has been charged in her case. Morgan's mother, Colleen, has relentlessly campaigned for justice, drawing attention to the plight of missing children. The case remains open, a chilling reminder of the fragility of childhood innocence. As we move into the 21st century, the unsolved murder of Maura Murray in 2004 captures public attention. Maura, a 21-year-old nursing student, vanished after crashing her car in New Hampshire. Witnesses reported seeing her at the accident scene, yet she seemingly disappeared without a trace. Despite numerous searches and a multitude of theories, from abduction to voluntary disappearance, no definitive answers have surfaced. The case has spurred countless amateur sleuths and online communities dedicated to uncovering the truth, yet it remains an enigma, echoing the fears of those who have loved and lost. The timeline of unsolved murders is a stark reminder of the unresolved pain that lingers in the aftermath of violence. Each case, with its unique evidence checkpoints and haunting stories, highlights the limitations of our justice system. As we traverse through these dark waters, we are faced with the reality that not all stories find closure, and some truths may be forever buried in the shadows. The unanswered questions echo through time, reminding us of the lives lost and the families left in search of justice. As we delve deeper into the next chapters of these unsolved mysteries, we must confront the uncomfortable truths that challenge our understanding of safety and security in a world that can be both beautiful and terrifying. In the chilling landscape of unsolved murders, we find ourselves grappling with the haunting reality that not every story reaches a resolution. The cases we've explored stand as solemn testaments to the fragility of life and the profound impact of loss. Each narrative, a tapestry woven with threads of hope, despair, and relentless pursuit, reminds us that justice remains elusive for many. As the years pass, the families endure the scars of unanswered questions, their cries for closure resonating in the silence. The shadows of these mysteries linger, echoing through the corridors of time and challenging our perception of safety. With every unsolved case, we are prompted to reflect on the societal obligations we hold to seek truth and justice. As we close this chapter, we invite you to ponder the stories behind the statistics, to honor the memories of those lost, and to engage in the dialogue surrounding these unresolved tragedies. Join us in our pursuit for answers, and together, let's keep the conversation alive. If you found value in this exploration of the unknown, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing for more journeys into the dark corners of our world. Your engagement fuels our quest for truth and justice.